Okay, I think we're live. It says we're live, so let's pretend that we are live. We're back with Jarod, who's still coughing,
Yeah.
and we're going to do some coaching. So, how has your week been? I
It's,
know, but
yeah. It's not been
tell the
great.
others.
Yeah. It's not been great. Being sick's really throwing me off the process. My sleeping hasn't been great. I just every time I feel extremely tired, and I've not been coughing a lot, but as soon as my head hits the pillow, it's just like a motor turns on, and it just doesn't stop. And I try to sit up and get in a recliner, but whatever. Yeah. So I've been only getting like a couple hours of sleep every night. So not so great. Um, been trying to stick to the process, but been having mishaps. Been feeling shitty about it. I think I'm being too hard on myself, but because that's my normal modus operandi.
Yeah,
So I guess we could dive into that.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Old habits, what do you say? Die hard?
hard. Yeah, hard to kill.
Yeah,
Resilient little bastards.
exactly. Right, so yeah, you wrote some stuff to me, but do you, before we go into where it went wrong,
Mhm.
what about the morning routine?
Morning routine's not been great. I've done it like 3 times.
Okay.
It's been not the structured way it's supposed to be done. What it's more like is wake up, um, do like maybe one or two actions from it, and then do the others randomly throughout the day. So it's not structured like I was planning it for it to be.
Mhm.
Um,
What's the
yeah.
reason for that?
Is there a reason for that, or is that what you said?
I was asking what the reason was.
Oh, what
Why
the
it.
reason is for that? I think part of it's just this the sleep schedule. So it's a lot easier when your sleep's a little bit more predictable and you're getting up at the same time. I think that's part of it. But a lot of it, I guess, is just not doing it. I don't know. Just just choosing. Like I said, what typically happened was I woke up and got the coffee and started bullshitting with the family, blah blah blah, and yeah, then just kind of let things slide by and let more time go by and do it later. Procrastination. Um, and I'm not really sure why I didn't actually just commit and do it. Try to even do the thing that we talked about, think about it adventurously, but it just seemed too novel. It didn't really seem like it wasn't effective as I thought it was, or maybe I wasn't trying hard enough with it because
So
my
what wasn't effective as you thought?
what we spoke about with the looking at it from like a perspective of a dragon, going at it as an adventurous
Yeah.
mindset. Let's tackle this. It just seemed like my normal programming was just way too powerful and just kind of overwrote that. I was like, that's just bullshit, dude. Come on. You don't want to do this. Just let's be real. There's no dragons. There's none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like
bullshit.
this is reality. Like let's get back to like my brain, body was not having that, whatever. So
Okay,
yeah.
cool. If we have time, we can go back to that. But let's have a look at how many cravings cravings
I
do you
things.
think cravings do you think you managed to actually allow throughout the week?
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about that too because I maybe I'm doing this wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm not.
Yep.
Because it's not feeling like different. It's not feeling like it just feels like I'm experiencing it. But how do I say? I don't know. I feel like I'm just doing something wrong with it. I mean, I feel like and I'm still trying to differentiate the difference between one craving and another craving, like a craving that's not just the same one that's just nagging me over and over. So it's
Mhm.
hard for me to kind of quantify it.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing. But I did a lot of them at work because I always have these triggers, like when we stop before we go to the job at the gas station. So that's always one that always just kind of happens and pops up.
Yeah.
But just to answer your question, probably try to ballpark it. I don't know, like distinguishable ones. I need to start like writing them down more. Probably like 15 to 20 maybe.
Okay. It doesn't really matter if it's the same craving for the same stuff. If you have one and you sit with it and then it comes back again and you sit with it again, both counts.
Okay. So just try to like um remember it. It's like its onset. Like after I feel it for a while, then I feel like I go on about my life or whatever, and then when it comes back, just keep kind of counting it in that sort of fashion.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And when you're sitting with it, so describe what you're doing, exactly what you're doing when you're sitting with it and how it feels after you sat with it.
Well, normally I'm doing a normal like life activity or whatever. Like it's not like I'm just sitting around doing nothing most of the time. But yeah, I just sit there and try to notice what's going on.
And what is
Um,
going on?
Usually it's like this, like a feeling when you have like a near accident or something, somewhat, or like in the car, or you have a thought that reminds you of something that jolts you. It's kind of like that stomach butterfly feeling
Hmm.
mixed with like the heat and the pressure that we talked about. It's like a feeling of I'm missing out on something, like a
That's a
feeling
thought.
of, yeah. But I feel like there's a feeling attached to it too. Like it's a feeling of like
Yeah.
emptiness.
Hmm.
Um, and when it's over, I'm usually just, I guess I really haven't, I can't really put it into terms what that feels like. I guess I need to kind of pay more attention to that part. But I guess I just feel like I go back to normal. But it feels like it comes back for. It feels like when I have a craving, it's shortly revisited pretty quick. Like the next one comes. Like they're in like these bursts, and then maybe I'll
Okay.
just be good for a while.
So it is there. You feel what it feels like in your body. It goes away, and
Mhm.
then you go back to work and just go about your day and like, okay, as if nothing happened, and then it comes back.
Yeah,
But that's good, isn't it?
I suppose so. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. It feels like I'm doing something wrong.
It
So
feels like
why
I'm
do
doing something wrong because I feel like I'm not like nothing's changing. I guess I feel like I don't feel progression.
hmm. So have a look at that. Like, why do you think that there's
But
no progress? Why does it feel like that?
mm, because it's just the same thing happening over and over. I guess. Like you go to the gym, you notice that your weights are increasing or you're getting a few more reps. But
Do you increase your weights every day?
every time I go to the gym, well, it feels like I do a little bit better, at least a little bit in
Mm-hmm.
something at the gym when I go. Maybe not always, but I do feel like there's always like maybe one or two reps that I get a little bit more. Maybe I got an extra couple than I did last time with a certain weight. So I do feel like there's some kind of noticeable change. Um,
What if you're just using too light weights? Weights are not heavy enough.
could be, but it seems pretty challenging to me.
Yeah, but if you can increase it or it feels better
No,
every day.
I don't think I increase it every time, but I do think I think I progress forward. Maybe I'm just not pushing myself enough on a given day, and I push myself harder on another day. I don't know,
Possibly.
but
I don't know.
I'm probably just with the cravings thing, expecting too much too soon, or maybe I'm being impatient.
You've had these cravings for how many years?
And whatever forms are well, I guess I wouldn't even say that they were cravings in the early years because I just did it. I never thought twice about it.
Hmm.
It was just,
They were still there though.
I guess the craving still comes, and
Yeah.
I wasn't
Just that you
in a
weren't aware
in
and
a
you weren't
mindset.
fighting.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to stop or change. Yeah, so then yeah, it's been probably since I was like 7, 6,
Yeah.
probably earlier.
And now you're like, I'm sitting with it and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like if nothing happens, you don't react to them. That's a win. If the craving goes away, even if for a short period of time, isn't that amazing? I mean, I
Yeah.
think it is. You might not think it is. I don't know.
Well,
You're like,
I guess at certain times, like, you know, even if I mean, I still with the craving, but there's no chance for me to even give in to the craving because I'm
mm,
not in a situation where I'm not gonna like pull my junk out and play with myself in front of my boss or
huh?
I can't get a snack. I mean, I could possible maybe looking in the classifieds for a new job,
Yeah,
but
possibly.
I can't there if there's no food available, I can't eat a junky
Yeah,
food. But I mean, I guess it is still a repetition in the brain where you just observe it and I,
absolutely.
yeah,
This is
I'm
just
probably just
about.
being too hard on myself, which is the theme of my life most of the time now.
Mm. So you, everything that I hear tells me that you're doing it right. I don't hear anything that makes me think that you would have to change anything about how you do it.
I probably
The
think
only.
that I that I'm sorry to cut you off, but I feel like because I'm still messing up and I'm still like giving into them. I feel like that's why I'm not doing it
Mm,
right because I'm failing, and I guess I came into this with a mindset like I did the first week really well, and when I first talked to you, and I was like, well, reasoning in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I spent this, which at the time to me right now is a significant sum of money. And since I'm doing this, I'm making this investment. I'm really going to take this seriously, and I'm really going to get it done. Like
mhm.
I'm just going to kick ass and beat my addictions. And it's not gone the way that I thought it was. Um, so I think I'm just beating the shit up out of myself, and I'm really, you know,
How did you think it was gonna go?
I just thought that I was going to really take to the process and um, just do it perfectly, I suppose. Um,
Mm. Oh, that's realistic.
yeah, it's very realistic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know it's yeah, so it's like delusions of grandeur, I guess.
Yeah. So what if this is the process? Like you are going to fail along the way.
Yeah, that's probably more accurate.
I haven't met anyone who hasn't so far.
Hmm. Including
And
yourself when you were going through it.
oh
I'm sure.
yeah, I failed a lot more than some of my clients.
Right.
A lot more, for sure. It's gonna happen. I.
Hmm.
It's not. What we're working on is just changing your automatic behavior, and that takes time,
Yeah,
and that takes repetitions.
the
And before that is
subconscious.
exactly. And before that is set in stone, you have two pathways, and they are going to. One of them is going to want to fire automatically, and that's the one that you don't want to use. And then you have the one that you keep practicing. And you
Jesus.
might not be able to do it every single time.
Right.
And it doesn't really matter. You're just going to try to get as many repetitions in as possible. So if you think about when you're going to the gym, like how many times have you not been able to do as many repetitions as you wanted to do with a certain weight?
Probably a lot.
Hmm. And you're like, okay, this is life.
Yeah, I guess I'm having a disconnect with the gym comparison because it feels like I guess in my mind, the way I see it when I mess up or I continue or if I do the things that I'm not trying to do, it feels like that is already something that's an extremely well defined structure or a well defined, really strong army or whatever. And what I have is a very tiny militia, and it feels like every time I'm giving into that, like when I go to the gym every single time, at least I'm doing something, and I know that there's not like an opposing force that I'm working against. I guess you could say like my subpar body, but it's
Hmm.
not. It's I don't know. It feels like it's a lot more formidable thing. Anyway, my point is that I feel like every single time I'm giving into this, I'm bolstering those well-defined pathways, and it's like the what I'm doing against that is not going to measure up to what's already there. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah, but what if you actually, every time you sit with a craving, no matter the outcome, you're bolstering that?
Yeah, I mean,
That's what you do.
yeah, and I guess as you do it more and more, it's gonna become more formidable. And I guess I don't know. Yeah, I'm just being hard on myself, and I'm pissed off because I'm sick.
Yeah, so you're like, if I don't get the result that I want right now, then I'm somehow failing. So what if we just stop looking at the result completely? The only thing we think about, the only thing we focus on, the only thing we're committed to right now is to always sit with the craving.
Yeah, just the process. Don't worry
Yeah.
about the end of the 6 months or beating my addictions or whatever. Just focus
You know
on.
what? The end of the 6 months, if you sit with the cravings every time you have them, you're going to be where you want to be.
Mm-hmm. Just concentrate on the
Yeah.
repetitions. My thing is, I want to try to. I don't want to snowball. I don't want to snowball. I don't want to. So I guess I need to somehow shift this from. I guess it's because I have that all or nothing perspective. Like if I
Hmm.
messed up, then well, all is
Right.
lost.
So snowball, define it for me. I think I know what you mean, but can you define it anyway?
Sure. When
I
you
want to
make a
hear.
mistake and then you say fuck it and you go all in with all your other mistakes, like you don't care anymore, and you just snowball into a bigger ball of fuckery.
Right. And how does this happen? A ball of fuckery.
I mean, it's just because I feel, I guess, it's a sense of defeat, and so I defeat myself more, and I just choose to go all in with my automatic behaviors or the behaviors that I'm trying to quell. I just run in the opposite direction. So I would like to be able to make a mistake and then just get up and get back to the process and not,
Why don't
snowball.
you?
I don't know. It feels like somebody takes over my brain. Like it becomes like a Jekyll and Hyde type thing where, I become the monster and then it's, my iPhone just told me that I'm being a lazy piece of shit and I should move. So I had to dismiss
Turn it off.
that. Yeah, no. Um, yeah, so I don't know. Lost my train
Okay,
of
but
thought.
this is really interesting. So let's say you have made one mistake
Uh-huh.
and you're straight away like going to, oh my God, I don't want to snowball.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you feel?
Like when I've tried not to snowball in the past.
And how does that feel?
Well, it typically doesn't get to that point. It usually just happens. But I mean, it just feels like from that point on, there's just kind of like a slow pressure that starts to build and build and build and build and build. And as that pressure continues to build, the thoughts that I tell myself, the justifications I make to try to just do the next thing, the next addictive behavior, I guess, become more and more convincing. And before I know it, I'm just on a full on binge of whatever. So I guess it just feels like a pressure, and then it just continues to rise, and I guess I just come to it. And before I know it, then I'm not doing any of the process. I'm just before I know it, I'm just laying in bed, binging useless YouTube videos, and probably jerking off every other hour or something like that, and then going to the kitchen or going out and getting food. And I'm in that loop of self-destructive, time-wasting, addictive behavior.
And you see that when you're thinking like, you make one mistake and then you're thinking like, I don't want to snowball.
Yeah.
And then you feel all this pressure. Do you need a minute? Do you need some water or something?
I gotta get up. I have to get up straight or I'm gonna die. Yeah, I need to get a drink, but I'm right here with it still, so you can continue.
Okay. And you're like, I don't want to I don't want to snowball. And the pressure just builds. And then you're like, this is too much. Now I'm just gonna lay in bed, watch TV, jerk off every other hour. I'm definitely not gonna follow this process.
Right.
And you are actually the one who makes it snowball by doing this.
For sure.
And you just told me like, I want to be able to make a mistake and just go back to the process. So in order to do that, what sort of thought do you think that you need to have to be able to do that?
What sort of thought?
About you making a mistake.
That it is part of the process. The mistake.
Do you believe that?
It seems like it. Yeah, it's a tough one to believe though, because I have this thought in my head that says that I should be able to do this and just stop doing all this stuff. Like it should be easy. And I firmly believe that in my head. Like I believe that I do have that conscious ability. But it's not happening, and it hasn't happened for years, and yeah. So my way has not worked, apparently. Thinking this way.
No, of course not. You're like, it should be easy. And when you're trying, it's not. And you're like, this is wrong.
Yeah, it's a big cognitive dissonance. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
So no wonder that it's not going to work.
Right.
If you believe, like, this is part of the process, you're probably going to feel relaxed about it. But my question is, like, can you believe that right now? Or do we need to find something different?
I mean, logically, it makes sense. And I mean, of course, I mean, yeah, and I can't not say that I don't believe it, but for some, you know, when it gets down into the moment, I feel like I've drilled this concept in my head that I have the opposite view, that my body's more in tune with that belief. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because you've been doing it for years. So of course it's going to be easier. Our brains want to think thoughts that they've thought for many, many years. Like the more times you've thought something, the easier it's going to come to you. Just like with the cravings. It's just a habit loop.
I guess I have to understand that yes, we as human beings can make any decision we want at a given time, but the brain being very much like a computer is going to run the programs that you've installed on it, and it's still a machine, and you have programmed it a certain way, so it is going to respond how you've programmed it, even though you can do something different. But it's a challenging undertaking. It is.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah.
But once it's done, it's done.
Yeah. But you can, and being able to change it is possible, but it's all of that takes time, you know. But
and you're like, this should be easy, and I should already have done it.
Yeah, I guess there's guilt associated with it too.
Okay.
Letting myself, having gone on with this for so long, and understanding how detrimental what I am doing is to my life, and what it's potentially making my future turn out to be. Yeah, that's probably part of the equation too, and part of the emotional bullshit.
So you committed to a 6-month process.
Right.
Do you trust the process?
Yeah, I think we talked about it before. I think the biggest reason people do these certain things is because they're trying not to feel something inside of them. So they're always doing these behaviors that are ultimately just distractions. Running from something. Do I know what that is? No. For me, I don't know at all because I think a lot of people have traumatic experiences in their life that they know that this is probably why I do a lot of these behaviors. I don't know what that is for me. I had a pretty normal life. Um, Not very traumatic experiences at all that I can really mention or remember. So I do feel like I'm running from something inside of me. And so the process is very simple. It's just learning to feel and be aware of yourself. And because the more awareness, I think the more efficient of an observer you become, the less subconscious you are, and the more conscious you are. Because that's what we're trying to do is get out of the subconscious stuff, or at least
Mm.
change the subconscious stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm wondering, like, because I'm the same way as you. I don't have any traumatic stuff in my past that I know of. There's nothing there that I'm specifically aware of that I'm running from. And still, I had the sugar addiction. I don't
Yeah,
believe that there has to be something traumatic. It is for a lot of people, but not for everyone.
yeah. And I feel like, and I think the society we live in, especially in like Western places, I think we have a lot of little micro things that happen that have accumulated. Like, I mean, for
Sure.
instance, like you and I, we we both were introduced to sugar at an extremely young, impressionable age, and consumed it a lot.
Yeah.
And that is a traumatic experience for the body. I truly feel like, because it is poison. Your body uses glucose obviously for different processes, but it doesn't need the exogenous gnarly forms of it, highly stimulating forms of it. So I mean, I do feel like, you and I, and just the different things about the way that our society is, with like just different chemicals and medicines and different things, the V word. So that those were traumatic experiences that happened to us that we're probably not super conscious about, but it still happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't like molested or witnessed someone die in front of us or anything like that, but a lot of micro little things that did truly affect us and screw our brains up in a way,
Oh
or at
yeah.
least maladapt it. We didn't reach our We weren't able to fully become probably the most amazing we could have been because of all these different things that happened to us, which I have to figure that into the equation. But I don't really know what my point was with all that. But
Well, the thing is that all of that might be true, but it's all in the past and there's nothing that we can do
yeah,
about it now.
yeah,
So we just want to look at, like, where can you go from here? And
right.
you are in such a hurry to get to the goal at 6 months that
Hmm.
you're not patient with the process.
Right. That's
So you
true.
told me that, yeah, I do believe in the process. So if you do believe in the process and if you can trust the process, just do what I tell you to do and be okay with whatever happens as a result of that.
Hmm.
Because whatever happens, if it doesn't go the way that we want it to go, or if you think that it should have gone another way, or if I think, this might not have been the right approach, we have plenty of time to just fix it.
Hmm.
Because we have to try things. I'm saying, like, everyone can use this process, and I'm doing very, very minimal changes for people when I do changes because the process is pretty much perfect. It's just science. Like, this is how the brain is working, and then your execution might depend a little bit on some other factors. But for most people, we don't really have to change it because it works. And it is working. Like, I know that it's working for you. As you said, the craving went away. I went on with my day, and I said, oh, it came back again. That's the resistance when it's like, this should be gone now because I already sat with it.
Hmm.
That is the resistance. We don't need that part. But what you did prior to that, was probably, from what I heard anyway, 100% the way that you should be doing it.
So what do you think about willpower in general in this process?
Sorry, what do I think about what?
Willpower in
I do.
general in this process.
Okay, in general, I don't like using willpower for anything because we can't rely on it. Willpower will, I mean, just being awake throughout the day is going to sap on your willpower because there are things you're going to have to think about, decisions you're going to have to make.
Yeah, it's like
Eventually, the
fatigue.
brain is just getting tired.
Mhm.
If you need to use willpower to force yourself to feel the craving,
Mhm.
do it. But don't rely on it.
So don't focus on not doing behavior. Just use my willpower to stick to the process.
Mm.
Like even if I feel like I am going to go ahead and eat something I don't want to eat, just focus on still just facing that craving until I end up just caving to it as much as I can.
If that's what's going to happen. Or,
If that's what's going to happen.
you know, once you sat with it for 5 minutes, you might not even have the craving anymore.
It might just go away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's true. I guess that's the whole point. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just want to get as many wins in as possible, like as many reps of the allowing part. Every time you do give in to it, of course, that is going to add another rep to your old pathway.
Right.
But having said that, your old pathway already have like thousands of repetitions or more.
Yeah, it's like Mr. Olympia. And I'm like,
Yeah, so it's like one drop in the ocean.
Yeah.
Whereas now when you're practicing the new one, it's like, yay, we had a 2% increase in how good we are at doing this.
Right.
So you can still catch up fairly quickly. And the goal is obviously to allow a lot more cravings than you give into.
Right.
But if you're at the end of the craving, you're like, it doesn't go away. If you have those thoughts, you're probably trying to resist it.
So that's, I guess I need to differentiate how I'm approaching it then, because I noticed that when I start looking at them, I also start to use logic. I think that's resisting. I start to say things like,
yeah.
well, I don't want to do this because of blah 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 blah, or
Yeah.
So yeah, that's resistance, huh?
Yeah.
And that's
So
what
the
we
only
want to
thing
shy
I want
away
you
from.
to do is like, how does it feel in my body? Focus on that feeling.
Yeah.
Turn off the brain to everything else. No thoughts about,
Because that
what
shit
could
doesn't
happen
work
next.
usually anyway.
No, not what is happening next, how long it's taking or not taking. Nothing of that, because all of that will just take your focus away from actually allowing the craving, and you're just going to the future or wherever you're going. Or the
This
past.
is insanity too. I know how dumb this sounds, but I even have thoughts of feeling guilty for feeling cravings. That's how much of a standard. It doesn't make sense to think that way. When this is what
so tell me about that. Why do you feel guilty about that?
Because once again, I just have this idea in my mind that I should have this licked, and the fact that I'm having these, I just, what popped in my head just now is this immature thought. It's like, come on, dude, grow the fuck up or whatever, or not even grow up, just I don't know, because of how, I guess I feel guilty because of how detrimental I know this is for me, what I'm doing, what I'm continuously choosing to do.
But is it really? Let's question that.
What?
Is it detrimental for you to have a craving?
Yeah, I guess what I'm doing is I'm blending the craving and the behavior itself into the same thing when they're not the same thing.
Yeah.
Because the craving is, I haven't done anything. It's just a thought.
Yeah, the craving is just a thought that manifests in your body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's not a conscious thought. It's not a thought that I It's just something that pops up. I do
Hmm.
think that the thoughts that you um, basically, what I'm trying to say is I do believe that thinking can create disease, like stressful thinking. Like if you're intentionally
Yeah.
constantly reinforcing loops, that's different. I think that's bad. But what we're talking about is not that. I think a craving is something that
No.
happens like a cloud appearing in the sky. And
Well, having said that, if you're going to feel guilty every time you have a craving, that might affect your physiology.
well, yeah, but I don't think I. What am I trying to say? Um, I don't feel like the feeling is automatic every time. I don't feel. I think that you have to. I think you'd have to do. You have to put a little work in to make that feeling a little bit more real. That guilty. I think you have to reaffirm that. So I think that's where I have to just. I don't think that's resistance against craving either. I think I just need to. If I start to feel guilty, I just need to be like, no, this is part of the process. So let's just
Yeah.
continue to see how this feels, and I think my
I mean,
brain will understand. My body will not.
usually, if
Yeah.
you're guilty or you're feeling guilty for having cravings, it's usually a thought behind that, like, I shouldn't be having cravings.
Yeah. I should be
But
better.
that's not true. If you
Right.
had no cravings, you would have no motivation to do anything in life, and you would just like wither away.
Right. Right. Because this is. I mean, scientifically, this is all really related to like serotonin and dopamine. Dopamine is used
Yeah.
to get you to get shit done and actually
Yes.
helps you evolve. That's what it's truly for. You get a
Yeah.
gnarly rush of feel good chemicals back in the day when we were on the hunt. When we got that kill, our brain just ejaculated all over the place with dopamine, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Fuck yeah, let's do that again." Because yeah,
This is
but
good shit.
now it's got so warped because yeah, social engineering is crazy.
So cravings as a general concept are great. There's nothing wrong
Yes,
with them.
they're
It's
a
just
tool.
that the cravings for carbs are not useful to us anymore in this society. It doesn't serve us. That's all.
Right.
And
We're using a tool in the wrong way.
yeah, I mean, do you think that I never have cravings?
I guarantee you probably do.
Yeah. So do I
Do
feel
you?
guilty about it? No,
No, probably not.
I don't.
Do you feel like I'm just wondering for the future? Do you feel like your reward system is more normal now, like your dopamine system?
Um, yes, mostly, but I still have tendencies to want to either procrastinate or play games on my phone
Hmm.
when there's something that I don't want to do, or if
Hmm.
I'm feeling tired. And I'm like, I just need a break. So rather than just like going outside and doing nothing and just clearing my head, it's like, yeah, let's play a game on my phone. It's not going to be helpful. Like,
Right.
I still have tendencies to want to do that. And I don't believe that any of those things, for me, they're not going to stimulate my dopamine reward system as much as carbs ever did. But it's
Okay.
still going to be more than just going outside in the sun for 5-10 minutes.
Right.
And it's not going to make me feel better after. Whereas actually going out in the sun can actually sort of regenerate a little bit of energy for me.
Yeah, getting your feet on the earth and whatnot. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So I need to pay attention and then actively choose what I'm going to do next.
Yeah,
But
it's
do I have cravings for food? Yeah, I do have cravings for food as well. And especially at a certain time of the month, I do have more cravings than other times.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes I have non-specific cravings. It's like I'm eating something and I know that I'm full, and it's still like what I would have called in the past, like, yeah, my dessert stomach is not full. Like there's something missing and I don't know what it is because I've just
Right.
eaten lots of nutritious food. And it's still like, hmm, what else do I want? I'm like, I don't want anything. I'm actually full. So if I can bring myself back there, then I can just let it go. And of 10 minutes later, I'm not craving anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like your brain is going to keep offering you these thoughts. We're still there.
Did I disappear?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
somebody was calling me. Yeah.
okay. So my brain is going to keep offering me these thoughts always in some form or fashion. It's just going to come up. Your brain will always want to give you things that will make things easy for you, like have you conserve your energy, like expend as little energy as possible because that is good for your survival. Those are the things that your brain or your primitive part of the brain is interested in. And it's always going to offer up thoughts that will help you do that. And if we don't catch that, it's very easy to just go with it.
Yeah, I think your brain wants you to feel comfortable because it's I think your brain doesn't understand the difference between I think it thinks that being comfortable means that you're safe.
Mm,
Because I think your brain just wants you to
yeah,
be safe
yeah,
or be in a safe, I don't know, whatever, but it doesn't understand the difference for whatever reason. Like that's where the front of our brain understands it. Like you and I talking about what this shit does, we
yeah.
understand it, but that more primitive, I don't know if I want to say primitive, but yeah, whatever type of the brain. I think it's emotional or it's part of the cerebellum or I don't know what, but yeah, it constantly wants to just bring us back to this safe, comforting feeling.
Yeah. That's its job.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And we want that most of the time. It's just sometimes it's not very comfortable, or it is comfortable. That's the problem, I guess. Sometimes it's just not very convenient
Right.
when we want to change things that it perceives as being the best solution.
Right. Right. Right.
So if we take you back to where we were, like you make one mistake, what other thoughts could you have about that that would be helpful to you?
Um, well, everything that's coming to mind sounds too much like willpower stuff.
Hmm.
Um, I think I just need to remind myself that it's that to, to allow myself to be okay with this is part of the process, and that I'm a recovering addict, and I don't know. I don't know. This is hard for me. I don't know the best thoughts.
So let's say you make a mistake and you're like, this is part of the process. How does that feel? Does it feel true? Does it feel like that's forced? What comes up?
No, I mean it's. I think truth is truth, and so it does ring right for me thinking about
Okay.
that. It's just um, living a lie so long is a difficult thing to separate from, and I've had myself in this lie of that I should be perfect or I should be this should be easier than what it is, blah blah blah. But and so just that shift for me personally, that perspective shift is just probably a little bit difficult to sum up, but it does feel true. It does sound right.
Did you notice what you did? You're like, yeah, it sounds true. And then one, two, three, I think, or maybe two justifications for why it's so hard to believe this. Like, that's what your brain does. Every time you have something that is useful for you, it's going to be like, hey, hang on. This is
All
why
right,
it's
all right.
not.
Yeah, yeah,
Always,
yeah,
which is quite interesting. So just
yeah.
expect that
It's
that's going to happen. So this is where you get to choose. Like when you think that, okay, this is part of the process. Yeah, but we've done this so long. Stop. It's part of the process. Like just shift your awareness back to where you actually want to be.
yeah. If you also notice too that when I started to make justifications, I started to do things with my face and this, that, and the third
I
because
always
it's
do that.
this. It's yeah. It's like the
I want the
subconscious
beard.
anxiety or whatever. You want the beard.
We also, uh, yeah. And why do you do that? Do you think?
I think it's just part of that subconscious stuff. I've always had ticks and twitches, biting my nails, doing things like that, oral fixation or whatever. So that's just another way the brain is just trying to bring me back to comfort. And when I'm trying to settle a conflict in my belief system, like what we're doing right now. So my brain's just trying to help me to feel comforted while I'm feeling conflict, I guess. That's the
Hmm.
only way I can see it, figure it out.
Yeah, that's interesting. Good to know.
Yeah, because I'm trying to, on top of all the other things I'm trying to quit, I'm trying to quit these ticks that I do as well. I'm trying to stop biting my nails and all these little subconscious things that I do. So I've been trying to do that. I'm trying to sit with those cravings as well. Like when I have I'll just like sometimes I'll just start picking. I can't fucking do the camera right for some reason. I'll just start picking.
Yeah.
And so every time recently I've been trying to sit with those cravings too, be like, okay, I feel the urge to do that, so let's just sit there with that. Before I know it, my fucking finger's raw and it's somewhat bleeding. So, I
Mm.
don't, yeah, my fingernails have never, like, they look so unhealthy. I've been picking at them for years. So that's another thing I want to try to tackle. But yeah,
So you could have like 50 practiced cravings by the end of the week.
yeah, it's true. I really could
Yeah.
actually. I have
Yeah.
so many things I'm trying to kick. So,
Hmm. So we can make this really quick. You could just make a commitment. I'm gonna sit with every bloody craving I have.
hmm, yeah, I need to think because yeah, if I use it towards those things, then yeah, I can actually get a lot more reps in than I originally imagined. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good opportunity. Not everyone has that. Some of my clients were like, okay, why can't we get any cravings? Because they also have a bit of the all or nothing mindset. So when they decide that I'm not going to touch any of that, they don't even have the cravings anymore. And we have to go back and generate cravings. So you're actually quite lucky that you have so many of them.
Mm.
So if you just decide, like, I'm going to do it every time I have a craving for anything, you're going to get all your reps in very, very quickly. Now they're ringing again.
Keep getting calls. Sorry.
Yeah, I figured.
Let me see. Hold on. Just 1 second. I don't think this is gonna take me away, but I just want to make my phone not do that anymore. Hold on. Okay.
Okay, we're back.
Shouldn't happen anymore.
So if you then could think, like, this is part of the process, and you could just choose to every time if you have screwed up, like, this is part of the process, it's going to happen, consciously bring your brain back to that place. What emotion do you think will pop up if you can really believe, like, this is part of the process when you have been screwing up?
Um, I feel like the first thing that comes to my mind is just probably relief that I can feel this way. I don't have so much of a being able to lower the bar. Um, it's like going up to a bench and like trying to hit like 225 for 20 or something. It's like, god damn,
Yeah,
just
you're not there.
take a plate off and just do 135. It's a little bit, it's still tough, but
Mm,
it's definitely doable. Um, so probably just feeling relaxed and just a little bit more comfortable, but not a negative comfortable.
yeah. So when you feel relief, what do you think that you would do then?
I would probably just be able to just start like after that mistake, just be able to not feel like I'm in this panicky fight or flight situation where I've got to run to the next thing to just help me feel normal or whatever. But just it would probably be easier for me to just get back to the process and just try to pick it up and feel some more cravings, regardless or not. If I'm gonna if I'm gonna continue the behavior or whatever, but as long as I'm before I do the next behavior or whatever, as long as I'm trying to just feel what that feels like and really be the observer, then I'd be getting more out of this process.
Mm. So this is amazing. Like first we talk about you make a mistake, you're like, oh no, I don't want this to snowball, you feel pressure, and then you don't do any of the things that we talked about. Go lay in bed, watch YouTube, jerk off every other hour, and you are the one just like making it snowball because you just snowballing when you're there. It's like, bring it on. I'll have more of that.
Yeah, yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
if you just shift your thinking, that's the only thing you have to do. One thing is going to change it all. Like, this is part of the process. You're like, oh, Jesus, thank God. It's it's
Right.
not me who's wrong. Like, this is part of the process. It's going to happen. It was always going to happen. You're like, well, now I don't have to panic. I don't have to run to the next thing. And I can just get back on track, keep doing what I'm supposed to be doing, which is focusing on just allowing the cravings. And the result of that is like you're sticking with the process. You're not snowballing anyway.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's shifting the perspective from the result, like you said. Um,
Yeah.
because I'm trying, and this process so far has just been me. I've been focused on not doing the behavior, truthfully. And I'm like, yeah, I
Everyone
gotta feel
does
it.
it, no matter what I say.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I know I gotta feel the craving, but I'm not gonna do the behavior.
Mm.
And when the behavior happens, it's like it's a deep sense of failure. Like, yeah, you didn't reach your goal again, and you've not done this a million times in your life. So, but yeah, if it really just shifted over to just the goal is just to do the process, then it becomes a lot more bearable.
Yeah. And, I mean, I have that. I say it to every single one of my clients. I say, focus on the process, never mind the goal. And
Right.
every single client is focusing on the goal
Yeah.
until they've failed, sometimes several times before it kind of clicks. They hear what I'm saying, but they can't really take it on board because they want the result so badly that they're not willing to let it go. It's
Right.
like, but that's what I want. And then we're not focusing on the process and then it fails.
Because by me focusing on the goal is just I might as well not even have you because that's what I've been doing my whole life and
Yeah.
it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked.
Yeah. But you've been doing both. So it's not completely like, it's not time lost or effort lost. You
Right.
have been doing both, but the relief and your ability to actually follow through with it and really get those repetitions in and stay on track has a lot to do with where your focus is.
I just had a craving, so
Ah, perfect. Did it go away already?
it was to pick at my finger. So yeah, I'm sitting here right now. I'm like, okay, would love to pick the shit out of that thing again, but I'm just gonna feel it.
And what does that feel like exactly? Is it the same as the other cravings or?
It's a lot more. I mean, let's put it this way: it's the easiest of the things I'm trying to kick. It's the easiest to do. Like it's the easiest to pick at your finger. It's the simplest thing.
Mm.
So right now, it feels like the easiest to not. It's not coming back to me again for some reason right now. It's not. It's just
It's,
gone.
yeah, it's probably very, very quick.
Yeah, but it'll come back. Trust me, it'll come back again.
Yeah,
And
I'm sure.
yeah,
And the more you think about it, like if you're picking up on it, you're gonna start noticing what it actually feels like. And I understand that why you didn't do it right now, because I probably
yeah,
wouldn't either. It's just like, oh, but now it's gone. And it's often once you're able to pick up on that it's happening, you can very easily stop a thing like that. And it's usually also quite easy to do with willpower. Whereas food and masturbation, gambling, even like YouTube watching excessively,
mm.
all of that is actually usually harder. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We
There's a
can
lot more
report back.
stimulus. There's a lot more feel
Yeah,
good chemicals that come from doing those things versus picking at your finger. Picking at your finger is just like okay.
yeah.
It's not like I get an
But
orgasm from picking out my fingers.
but it
So
can still feel like
it does feel like a
resistance when you try
relief.
to stop it because it's like, who am I to tell me what to do?
Yeah.
I just want to do it.
I'm reading this I started just reading this book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and it's talking about how your body can essentially become your mind, and that
Okay.
um the feelings and stuff that you've allowed for so long that are attached to certain thoughts or whatever. Because your feelings are more of your body, I feel
Mm.
like, because
Yeah.
you feel it in your body, so it's your body reacting and doing things with chemicals and stuff. So um part of this process in this book is basically just relinquishing that control your body, because essentially it's like your body's controlling you now.
Yeah.
Your mind, your body has taken control of your mind. So yeah, it's very interesting because that's what I feel like a lot of this is. You feel certain things when you do these behaviors, so it's like your body is kind of like taking control of everything. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. Just remember that a craving is a feeling.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And we say that the body is taking over, but we allow it to take up over, obviously.
Right.
So we have to stop believing that what you're feeling means that you have to do something.
We're kind of like letting our body bully us
Yeah,
into these, you know,
sure.
in a
And
way.
then you're like, stop it. I don't want to hear it. And
Exactly.
then you're resisting. So don't do that. So there are two things that I want you to do for this week. So one of them is just continue, like we said, allow all the cravings that you can of any kind, as many
Mhm.
as you can. What that's going to do is just, you're going to go like, usually when I'm just working with people who have food cravings, they have to take that and then translate it into other areas. You're just doing all of it at once, which is good. Then you don't have to translate it into that. This is how I do it with this. This is how I do it with picking my fingers, with, porn, with food, with whatever. And you can just start applying that anywhere in your life because now you're already done it in several areas. So that's the good news. You're kind of fast tracking a little bit. And then the second part of the homework is just shift your thinking to like this is part of the process and stay focused on just following the process, which
Right.
mostly is going to be for you to just feel it and stay with the feeling,
Hmm.
not go anywhere else. Think about what happened before, what's going to happen next, if it's going to come back, if why it hasn't gone away, or why this one came back. None of that bullshit. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nope, I'm just going to feel it. And if you feel like that is overwhelming, do set like a timer or something. I'm going to feel this for 1 minute and then I'm done. And then you just feel it. And you don't allow yourself to think about any of the other bullshit.
Right. It's kind of funny because now I'm understanding that I can get another repetition. I can find another way to get more reps, which
Uh
is
huh.
feeling the craving to use logic, to not to go
Yeah.
against the craving.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just another craving,
Yeah. So
because
you're already kind
I'm
of picking it up.
addicted to
Like,
that behavior. I'm
yeah.
addicted to that way of trying to fight addictions. That's another way of looking at it.
Hmm. And it's the same thing for me. I had to do a lot of work on my procrastination because I have a craving to procrastinate.
Right.
And then it just becomes that habit and I don't want to stop it. Even though it pains me a lot to not get shit done, but it feels so much better in the moment to not
To
have to
not
tackle
do
that
it.
beast.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right, right.
It's the same thing. And you're already like, oh yeah, I can apply to this and to that and to that. It's perfect. I'm so
Hmm.
glad.
Because it's really not. It's not even. This is not all about addictions. This is really just about subconscious programs that you're trying to, change.
Yeah.
It's just noticing and feeling every time the subconscious is trying to step in and take over your consciousness.
Yeah.
Because every time those things happen, it's not you consciously doing it. It's programs
Yeah.
running, and you're just noticing the program. That's all it is.
And when you can take control of that, it's like, is there anywhere that you can't go?
Yeah, exactly. It's true.
And that's exciting as fuck.
Hmm.
I got my first fuck in for today.
Yeah, I think you've repeated a couple of my fucks, but your first
Okay.
personal
Yeah, okay.
fuck.
Fair enough. Yeah, but that's what drives me. It's like when I'm finally like Pim Yoda or whatever, like when I can do that, when I can control my mind, when I can choose in every situation, maybe not at once, but usually even when I'm in situations where I can't choose like in the moment, I can bring myself back to it quickly and just feel like there has been so much progress in my life over the last, 5, 10 years, where I wouldn't have even thought that I could be where I am today 5 years ago.
Right.
So where can I be in 5 years? Like, that's kind of interesting to think about. So I'm not going to stop doing this work, even though I don't have a problem with the food anymore. I still have life to deal with.
Yeah, you have other things in your subconscious that you want to address, and this process
Oh
goes with
yes,
all of it.
always,
Hmm.
all the time.
Because there's
And
two
so,
ways. There's two ways to get out of this crazy thing that I think that we're all experiencing, and it's because you notice a lot of people just think it's money to get
mm,
financial freedom, but you'll notice that there's many, 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 many rich people that either off themselves are just drug addicts, reckless, completely, completely miserable.
yeah,
It's because they haven't done what we're doing right now. So because they're still letting routines just run and they're leaving them not in check.
yeah,
So I mean, and if I accomplish this, and if I let this process really flourish in my life, like you're doing and you're teaching others to do, then I think I'll be able to get to that other part of the puzzle, which is the financial freedom part, and I'll actually be
yeah,
able to handle it maturely.
yeah. And also, like, a lot of people think that if I could reach financial freedom, I would just be happy all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, and
And
that's
then they get
bullshit.
disappointed because that's never going to be the case.
No,
And it's
you
like,
get a
well,
lot of
okay,
problems too when that comes as well. I
at
hear
least I have
so.
drugs.
It's oh yeah.
And that can make me happy anytime I want
Oh man.
until they're over, which is very sad. But it's the expectation that things are going to be better there than they are now. I can promise you in 6 months, when you no longer have the cravings, you're still going to have problems.
Right.
There's still going to be things that you don't like.
And I think the cravings are still going to be there,
Yeah,
but I'm
but
just
they're
going to
going to feel
be,
different. They're not going to
yeah,
be a
I'm going to
problem
be,
necessarily.
yeah, they're not going to be such a hurdle for me.
Exactly.
It's going to be like just the bar instead of the 225.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just bullshit. It's nothing.
No, 225. That's horrible. Okay, so we're done for today. Thank you everyone for watching and for being here. Apologies for not responding to you if you're still here. Hi, Paprika, Tracy, Deek. Good to see you. We shall be back again next week. See you then. Hopefully, no coughing.
Yeah.